Hey everyone, I hope you enjoyed the snow day. Gonna do a recording on quadrilaterals in the area of polygons today for our lesson for Friday. So what we're looking at here now is trying to figure out what areas of regular polygons are. I know we've kind of worked with in the past triangles, squares, things like that, but now we're gonna bring into the funny shapes with multiple sides. First, we're gonna review parallelograms though. Remember, the area of a parallelogram is the base times the height, or the length times the width if it's a rectangle. The height is always the vertical distance perpendicular between the two bases, between two parallel sides. So I know you guys can do these. So on your note sheet, you have a couple problems, 3 to be exact. Do those 3, plug the answers into Edpuzzle, and then come back and check your answers. Okay, hopefully we get those done right. Here are the answers. The first one was 288 feet squared, just 16 plus 18, 16 times 18, there you go. The second one was a square, so it was just 1.6 squared, or 2.56 centimeters. The third one was a little tricky because it was a 30, 60, 90 triangle. They told you one of the angles was 60 degrees. So you had to figure out what the height was. It was a rhombus, so all the sides were 24 inches. So when I kind of look, it's like, all right, 24 inches, 30, 60, 90 triangle. My short side here is going to be 12. That's going to make my height the 12 square roots of 3 side. You just multiply 12 square roots of 3 by 24, and you get 288 square roots of 3 inches squared. Hope you were able to kind of figure that one out. It was a little bit of a curveball, but with what we've learned and where we're going in this class now, you're going to have to get used to and comfortable with special right triangles. We'll do them again after Christmas, though, so don't worry. Okay. Triangles, we know area is 1/2 the base times the height. I think everybody has that pretty well down. So on your notes, you have 3 problems. Quickly go through those, figure out the areas, and again, plug those into Edpuzzle, and come back and check your answers. All right, hopefully those were easy. 1/2 the base times the height. So we look at it, we had to figure out the height of our first triangle, but we noticed right away we have a 3, 4, 5 triangle. The right triangle, the base is 3, the hypotenuse is 5, the height, the other leg has to be 4. So we get an area of 30 centimeters squared for number 1. They gave us everything we need for number 2. Be careful you're not including the dotted part of the base here. The base is just the base of the triangle, not the extension out to the perpendicular for the height. They're just doing that to trick you. So again, that was 176 feet squared. Last one, height, base, everything looks good, 220 inches squared. Hope everybody got those, and let's all review. We're going to move on now to areas of trapezoids. It's a new formula. So trapezoids, they have 2 bases. They have 2 parallel sides are called the bases. To find the area of a trapezoid, you add the bases together, b1 plus b2, multiply it by the height, and then divide by 2. It's kind of like a triangle thing. Like if we extended this up, we'd kind of have a triangle. You kind of, if you ever look at a trapezoid that way, if you extend it, it's a triangle. So we have to have 1/2 as the formula. So just remember, add the bases together, divide by 2, multiply by the height. So here's our example. Remember our area, I'll write it all write it down. Area is 1/2 b1 plus b2 times my height. Well, b1, I'm going to call that b1. This is b2. So my area is 1/2 times 40 plus 18 times my height of 15. So I end up with 1/2 of 58 times 15. Quick math on that tells me my area is 435 meters. Meters squared. Remember, it's always meters squared. So that makes sense. It's relatively straightforward. Just add the bases together, divide that by 2, multiply by the height. That's your area. Okay, next page, there are some problems for you to work on. Again, we know the formula. I'll write it on the page for you, on the screen for you here. So you can kind of have it to look at as you're doing the problems. But you should be able to kind of fit these through. Everything's pretty easy problems today. But when you finish, enter the answer to that puzzle, come back and check your answers. Okay, you should have been able to do that. We kind of go through now. Number one, you should have got 400 feet squared. Number two, you should have gotten 57.5 inches squared. We add my base together. Even though they're on the sides of the triangle, the sides of the trapezoid, they're still bases. Number two here should have been 504, not 57.5. I went down rather than across. And number four, you should have gotten 384 feet squared. Hope that's making sense. Remember, add the two parallel sides together, multiply by the height of the triangle, and that divide by 2. Okay. Next is the area of rhombuses and kites. These are a little different because what we're going to do here is we're actually multiplying the diagonals. Remember, the rhombuses and kites both have diagonals that intersect at 90-degree angles. So we can multiply them together, divide by 1/2, or divide by 2, sorry, multiply by 1/2. We're going to get the area. Kind of think of it as all the shaded shape of my kite here. If we take half of that, makes up what half that triangle would be with those areas, the diagonal length. I know it's kind of weird and kind of difficult to see, but you'll see them kind of as we go through the problems. So again, here's our example. Our area is 1/2 times D1 times D2. So I'll call the 7 D1. This will be D2. My area is just 1/2 of 7 times 9. So area equals 1/2 of 63. So my area equals 31.5 centimeters. Does that make sense? Just multiply the diagonals together for rhombuses and kites, sorry, and then divide by 2. Next page, there are 2 problems for you to work on. Quickly work through those, see what you get for answers, plug them into Edpuzzle, and then come back. We'll talk about polygons. Okay, you should have done those, got a good answer. Here are the problems. First one is 1,620 inches squared. You had to add the 2 diagonals together. It wasn't 5620, it was 20 plus 20, 56 plus 26. So you should have got 1/2 times 82 times 40. Same thing on the second one, it's 24 and 24, so that's 48. Plus times 28 divided by 2, you should have got 672 feet squared. If you have any questions, send me an email. Say, Ms. Ford, I don't quite understand that. 2 different ones now. We're going to solve for a variable. So we're told what our area is. We have to remember what area we're using for each shape, and then we have to solve for x. So again, take a stab at these. Come back and check your answers when you're finished. All right, so for the first one, it's a trapezoid. The area of the trapezoid was 1/2 times base 1 times base 1 plus base 2 times the height. They gave me the bases. I don't know what the height is, so I'll call my height x. I add my bases together. I add 32.8, divide by 2, that's 16.4. So 16.4x equals 164. I divide by 16.4, and I get x equals 10. Same thing on the kite. We'll call that a kite. The area was 340. One of my diagonals was 20. I'm looking for the other diagonal. We'll call it x. So it's just 340 equals 20x. So x equals 17. Hope those are pretty straightforward. I hope you kind of figured those out pretty easily. Polygons. What we're talking about here all the time is regular polygons. Regular polygon, the easiest way to talk about a regular polygon is the polygon where all the sides are congruent. So all the sides are equal. Which then makes all the internal and external angles equal, but just know all the sides are congruent, all the sides are equal. So the formula we're talking about for figuring out the area of a polygon, when we look at this polygon, we actually have a triangle on the inside, kind of mapped out with our 2 sides and our height. So we know the area of a triangle is 1/2 base times the height. That's the area of a triangle, right? Well, we kind of look, this polygon here, if we kind of drew everything through, there are 5 individual triangles with 5 individual heights that are all the same. So our area for a triangle then is going to be 1/2 a figure that they call the apothem, which we'll talk about in a second, times the perimeter of the polygon. So an apothem is the segment drawn from the center of a regular polygon perpendicular to the sides. So for a pentagon here, there'd be 5 apothems. We'd have these all drawn in. They're all going to be the same distance. Don't know what they are, but just know that I could figure out the area of the 5 triangles, add them all together, and get the area of the pentagon, this polygon. But if I take the perimeter, which is just the side times the number of, the side length times the number of sides. So the perimeter of a polygon is side length, we'll just write it out, times the number of sides. So again, expect on the test to say, find the area of a 30-sided pentagon, a 30-agon with a side length of 17 and an apothem of 54. You just know, I gotta multiply, I gotta plug everything in. So my side length times the number of sides is my perimeter, times the apothem, all divided by 2. Let me show you an example so you can kind of see exactly how it works. So again, we'll write it down. Area equals 1/2 little a, the apothem, times big P perimeter. So I gotta solve big P first. I look at my shape, count how many sides. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I have an octagon. So my perimeter is going to be 8 times the side length, 12.2. Do the quick math there. That's 97.6. So now I have everything I need for my area. This is A. So area equals 1/2. My apothem is 14.8 times 97.6. Punch that all into my calculator. And my final area is 722.8, I think. No, 0.24, sorry. 722.24. Does that make sense? Just count the number of sides on your shape if you're given a diagram. If you're not, just pick what they tell you in the wording. They'll tell you everything you need. Got an apothem, plug everything into my formula, and kick out my answer. All right, so it's your turn. 3 simple problems. Make sure you count the number of sides. The third one, I tell you the number of sides. I tell you the side length. I tell you what the apothem is. So figure out your answers. Plug them into Edpuzzle and come back and check your work. All right, here we go. Apothem on the first one, 1/2 A times P. P is there are 7 sides of my shape, so it's a heptagon. Times 10 gives me a perimeter of 70. My apothem was 10.4. Divide by 2 when I'm all done. Again, my area was 364. Number 2, we're looking, we have a pentagon. So its pentagon is 15.3 side length times 5 gives me a perimeter of 76.5, which I plug up in here. My decimal point's missing. So I got 1/2 times 76.5 times 10.5. Divide, multiply that. I get my area there is 803.25. The last one, number 3, they told me a 15-gon, so it's 15 sides. My side length was 12, so 15 times 12 is 180. My apothem is 6, so it's 1/2 times 180 times 6, which works out to be 540, and that actually had a measurement of centimeters squared. Did that make sense? I know that was kind of quick. Work on the homework. See how you do. We'll kind of go over everything on Monday if you're confused. But I think that kind of all makes sense. And have a good weekend.